My mug says, think happy, be happy. I'm not happy, and I'll tell you why in a second. Hold on. I am not happy, and the reason goes deeper than the pandemic and the conspiracy theorists who are all up in my Twitter mentions. It goes deeper than that because now it's personal. Before I tell you why, I'm going to put it into perspective for you, and I'm going to reference an article that was put out by Slate writer Mark Joseph Stern, and he will set the scene for us. So the headline of this article reads, Wisconsin Supreme Court is going to use Fox News arguments to undo the state's COVID-19 restrictions. I'm a Wisconsinite. This concerns me. So, if you haven't heard, Republicans are up in arms about the governor's stay-at-home orders, and so they filed a lawsuit. So now we have case Wisconsin Legislature versus Palm, and Andrea Palm is the Department of Health Services Secretary, so she's the one who helped issue the stay-at-home order, and Republicans are suing and filed this lawsuit because they felt that she abused her authority in order to issue this stay-at-home order. So according to Mark's article, the Wisconsin Supreme Court's conservative majority looked poised Tuesday to invalidate the state's COVID-19 safer at home rules, limiting public gatherings and commercial activity. Its decision could instantly lift public health restrictions, forcibly reopening the state and likely accelerating the spread of COVID-19. They conducted their hearing via Zoom. Ironic. They want to reopen the state and tell everyone to get back to work, but they're having the hearing via Zoom because it's dangerous to meet in person. The irony, right? So ironic. Before jumping into my rant, I also wanted to read a tweet that Mark wrote. So he said, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Rebecca Bradley, a Republican, just described during the hearing the governor's stay-at-home order as the definition of tyranny. So staying home to slow the spread of an infectious virus that has killed so far, as of right now, 70,000 Americans is tyranny. I will be sure to leave Mark's article in the description below, as well as other articles that I was reading about this case, because with all the articles coming out that talked about the Supreme Court hearing, it's very clear what is going to happen. It's pretty clear that since it's a conservative majority in the Wisconsin Supreme Court, they've already made their mind up. They will overturn the governor's stay-at-home order. So if what's happening in Georgia is any indication, we know what's going to happen in Wisconsin. Cases are going to go up. Deaths are going to go up. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. I hope that sets a scene for you guys. And I wanted to read what I wrote on Twitter about the Wisconsin Supreme Court hearing that happened today. So I tweeted and said, I guess the Wisconsin Supreme Court will end up having a Zoom vote to tell the citizens that their right to health and safety is not more important than white terrorists' right to infect us and kill us with coronavirus. Cool. And my reference to the white terrorists is pertaining to all the right-wing white nuts that we've seen all over the country, storming government buildings, screaming in police officers' faces with guns. And they're doing that for their right to infect others and kill others and themselves by infecting everyone with an infectious disease. Okay. For all these people saying that they're worried about the economic and financial repercussions of staying at home, the government should help the people. They're not, of course. Mitch McConnell is trying to draft legislation to help the big corporations and make sure that the big corporations are protected from lawsuits if they force employees back to work and the employees get sick or die from the coronavirus. So he wants to prevent people being able to sue or families being able to sue if their loved ones die from contracting coronavirus while going back to work. The government doesn't care about us, but just because the government doesn't care about us doesn't mean we should just sacrifice ourselves and our health and the safety and health of others by storming the streets or demanding that states reopen. States reopening is not going to solve the problem. It's not. I got a lot of really interesting responses to that tweet, and there's a lot of anti-vaxxers up in my mentions for some reason. There's a lot of people saying that people financially and economically suffering is worse than people getting sick and dying. And it's not a black and white issue. We can walk and chew gum at the same time, okay? Just because people are economically and financially suffering doesn't mean we should send them out to die from coronavirus or get sick or infect others. I don't know why that's so complicated for people to understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. So the worst take I got was something that I felt like hit below the belt. Before I jump into the tweet, if you are new here or didn't know, my boyfriend Patrick passed away from liver failure complications, and he died in February of 2019. So when I'm filming this, it's a little over a year ago. So someone decided to bring that into the conversation as if it was relevant. So someone responded to my tweet talking about the Wisconsin Supreme Court case and the hearing that happened today as I'm filming. Today is Tuesday, May 5th. So someone responded to my tweet and they said, "Sorry to read about your boyfriend, Becky. I can actually see and understand why you may feel that everyone in Wisconsin should feel your isolation, pain, and sadness. My advice is to get back out there. Life and love will find you again." And this person screenshotted a couple of my blog posts that I had written about Patrick and the situation and my grief and everything. They screenshotted my blog post guiding people to a GoFundMe that we had started for Patrick's medical expenses and then his funeral expenses when he ended up passing away, because at first we thought he was going to be able to get a liver transplant. But they screenshotted that blog post as well as one where I was talking about grief and how much having a dead boyfriend sucks, to put it bluntly. Where do I start with this tweet? Number one, like I said before, my boyfriend has nothing to do with the coronavirus and what's going on right now. That's completely irrelevant, and you bringing that up is obviously just a low blow. That's what it is. It's interesting to me that they are pretending in their twisted brain that me being sad and grieving means that I therefore want everybody to be isolated and sad during a pandemic, and I want them to all stay at home because I'm sad. That doesn't even make sense. I want to see less people get sick and less people die. 70,000 Americans, as of the time I'm filming this, have died from coronavirus. That means that 70,000 families are grieving the losses of loved ones. 70,000 families are unable to have traditional funerals because we can't because of the coronavirus. It's disgusting that this person thinks that I want people to be sad. What? That doesn't make sense. The worst thing to me was the last two sentences. My advice, you should not be giving someone advice who's grieving. Their grief is none of your business. Grief is personal. Everyone grieves differently, and it's none of your business how another person grieves. Point blank. So I don't know what makes you think that it's any of your business to tell a complete stranger how they should be grieving. And they said that their advice is to get back out there. Get back out where? Outside during a pandemic. No thanks. I care about my health. I want to keep my health in check, and I care about the lives of others. So I'm not going to pick up coronavirus and spread it to other people. No thank you. And then I don't understand the last line. They said, life and love will find you again. Number one, I'm alive, so life never left me. So I don't know what that is referring to. And I don't know if they're referencing the blog post that they screenshotted where I said that life sucks because of grief. So they're pretty much saying that, you know, life goes on and you'll get over it. You'll move on. People who are grieving hate that. Like, get the fuck out of here. Telling people to move on, telling people that they'll get over it or that time heals all wounds, that's a load of okay? So get the fuck out of here with that, okay? And then I also love how they said, I don't understand what they mean when they say love will find you again. Are they talking about romantic love? Because if that's what they're saying, they're pretty much just saying like, move on to someone else. And if they're not, I already know that I have family and friends and just so many other people in my life that I have love for. Love doesn't just mean romantic love. So I don't know what they were referencing. The moral of the story here is someone else's grief is none of your business. That should be the moral of the story. How someone grieves is none of your business. Don't give grieving people advice. And obviously I know that this person was bringing up Patrick to get under my skin. And it did, because it was a low blow. It was hitting below the belt, in my opinion. So what I did was I quote tweeted it, because of course I did. Hello. And I talked about how bringing up my boyfriend feels wrong. And the person doubled down. They doubled down. They said, exactly. Wisconsin may appear to be open again eventually, but it will never ever be open again for you unless you let it back inside you. Have a great Tuesday. Obviously it's quite gross. They said that I have to let Wisconsin back inside me. No, thank you. No, thanks. That sounds terrible. But it's insane that they're doubling down on the idea that I need to move on or get over it. Sorry. All of this has just made me lose a lot of faith in the future of humanity and in the good in people. It appears to me that this person was just trying to get under my skin, and I know the response to that would be, don't let them get to you. Just ignore it. Just block them. I get that, okay? But you can't undo seeing a tweet from someone like that. You can't block it out in your brain. You can try, but it won't work. So yes, it did get under my skin because it's disgusting. My boyfriend has nothing to do with the coronavirus, and my response to stay-at-home orders, they have nothing to do with one another. Yes, my grief can be affected by the pandemic, by the stay-at-home orders, but it wouldn't be good for me to want to get back out there during a global pandemic. That sounds like the worst thing to do. So I guess I should just say this. If you're grieving someone, please don't listen to this type of advice. Don't go outside when it's not necessary. Be careful, be smart, be safe. Don't listen to idiots, okay? I guess the moral of the story is don't give me advice about grieving, and be careful of misinformation, conspiracy theories out there about coronavirus, because there are some sick individuals out there, and they're spreading lies, they're spreading misinformation, they're trying to hurt people, and it's dangerous. It's getting out of hand. So just be careful, vet your sources, listen to scientists and science. Don't listen to the keyboard warriors out there who don't know what they're talking about. Stay safe. I will see you guys next time.